Good morning. Afternoon. Evening. Wait, where are we? Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me. Me? Is anyone but me here? Is it just me by myself? Because that's mildly off-putting, I must admit. Wow. We've got music. We can put music on today while we type. And Z made some awesome banners to express that we were not here for the last week. Hey, Easy Graphics, thanks for joining me. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that vote of confidence. Do you stream writing sprints? Because I could totally do with one of those on Wednesdays. When do you do that? Hi, Megan. Thanks for coming. Oh, I haven't even opened up my document. How are you all? Did you all have a lovely week? I'm super sorry that I missed you all last week. I was poorly, Paul. I would love some company, Megan. Hang on. It's going to go in plot partners because that's easy. Yeah, I was poorly, Paul, and couldn't talk. Productivity sprints every Wednesday, 3 to 4 Eastern time. Oh, that's good. Because that's like 8 till 9 my time, I think. Are they on your channel? I'm sure I'm on your channel. I feel like I should get notifications about those. I'll have to look you up in a minute. If I do it now, I'll lose this video and that'll be bad. Thank you. I appreciate the company. So, what are you working on today? What are you working on, Easy? Kate! Yay, Kate's here. Did you have a lovely weekend, Kate? On your channel, yes, I'll definitely check I'm subscribed to your channel. I have like 4 different Google accounts, and of course they all have their own YouTube account, so I'm not really sure which one I'm subscribed to your channel on. But apparently not one that sends me notifications about your sprints. Work on your acknowledgements chapter. Exciting. What are you working on, Kate? At some point, do I have to add you? Yes. Hi, Megan.
Oh, I know you hate sitting here by yourself, so here I am.
I do. My weekend was good, thank you, Kate. Yeah, it was really good. The weather was even nicer than we would have expected. It was sunny as well as warm. And
what an
yeah, it was just like a long bank holiday weekend, and the weather was good. It's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, the kids had a great time. Did lots of playing. It was a really nice, quiet campsite, so they could just like run off to the playground and stuff, and that was nice.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
Were you in an actual tent? You're like in a tent, right? A tent.
Yes, an actual tent.
Thanks. I can't.
We haven't been in tents very much. We went hammock camping, and hammock camping is awesome, and I love my hammock. But unfortunately, there aren't very many trees in the UK, and thus.
Wait, is that what it sounds like? Where you literally like, there's no tent over top of you. You're just strung up in a hammock on a tree.
There is a hammock, and then there is a fly screen that zips onto my hammock, and then there is a special tarp that goes over the hammock. And yeah, it's very much not a tent, but it is delightful, and you are very, very with nature. Yeah, and I really like it.
See, that's the thing. You lost me at the be with nature, because that's. Well, thank you. Also,
I like nature.
Pull out of the hammock at night I just move around too much. So I either wouldn't
You can't
sleep or I'd wake up on the ground.
you can't fall out because it just zips shut all the way around.
So I just strangle myself to death as I roll around inside.
Yeah,
Oh, well, as long as that's all. Great. That's fine.
yeah.
No big deal.
And the worst thing about hammock camping, because the last time we went, my eldest was really little, and so he was sharing my hammock, and I had to keep getting up in the night to pee, and like he laid next to me really nicely when we were both in it, but as soon as I got up, he of course rolled into the middle. So when I tried to get back in, I had to kind of shove him out of the way, which woke him up, and it was just
Yeah. That sounds rough.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nature is great.
I walk out. I walk out of my front door, and I'm just like a feeding frenzy for the mosquitoes. They're like, "Oh, there she goes." So no, thank you.
I react badly to bug bites, and they do seem to bite me a lot. But I haven't been bitten by anything for quite a while because we haven't been camping for a few years, so that probably helps. But also, my husband is now diabetic, and the bugs seem to like him a bit more now.
Oh, interesting.
And we got like
attention from you.
Yeah, and we got citronella candles. He made citronella candles last time we went in the summer, and obviously the bugs are worse in the woods, so they're worse when you're hammock camping.
Yeah.
And the Avon did like a spray that was just a skin spray. It wasn't an anti-bug spray, but it was really good at scaring bugs away. So, yeah.
There's like an essential oil one that I use when I remember to use it. Yeah, I would. My idea of roughing it is like a Motel 6 or something. No thanks.
It's fair enough.
I'd rather not with the bears and the wildlife and the bugs and the dirt.
We don't have bears or wolves or coyotes or mountain lions. We literally, the worst thing we have is like foxes. So.
Wait, don't you have deer?
Yeah.
Okay, what's eating the deer?
People.
That's it, just people. The deer don't have any predators besides human beings.
We have a couple of breeds of deer that have a season, and the rest it's literally shooting season all year round because they have no other predators, and otherwise it would be ridiculous.
Interesting.
So.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. I get a lot of venison.
Plenty of predators here in the United States.
Nothing. Yeah. And they scream a lot at night.
Deer?
Yeah. The first night, by like 4:30 in the morning, I didn't sleep very well. I was cold both nights. I need to take more night clothes, although I wore a lot of clothes and I was still cold. Never mind. But at like 4:30 in the morning, I asked Stephen what was shouting. Was it a deer or a fox? Because they both make loud noises, and it's a while since we've been.
In a way that sounds like a woman is being murdered. It's very sound. Yeah.
Yes, they do, and he's like, I can't remember what the sound was because he was half asleep at the time, but it was a deer I'd been hearing all night. So
nice.
Hey, Jocelyn, thanks for joining us.
Well,
deer are delicious. Cannot express how much I love eating Bambi. And Bambi's mama.
Isn't Bambi technically veal? No, that's cows. Is there a different name for baby deer versus adults like there are for most other food?
There should be. But I don't know it.
I don't want to Google that. My search results are weird enough. My ads are weird enough from what I Google.
That's fair enough. I'll Google it in a minute. Well, right. So Kate is working on a new billionaire story. Easy Graphics is working on his acknowledgements chapter.
Was this Bailey's story? Okay, sorry. I think that's what she said. Bailey's story.
Megan, what are you working on today? And Jocelyn, what are you working on today?
I am doing beta edits for book 3. So I can do them and then let it sit for a minute before I do line edits.
Excellent. Sounds fun.
Yeah. I made a list, so I'm diving in.
Yes, it's very straight. Jocelyn's working on her work in progress. I need to finish writing my email to Kate from my beta read because I did manage to get it finished, Kate. And started an email this morning and then got interrupted and clearly did not remember that I hadn't finished it. So I'm going to go finish that and hopefully get into reading mine because I haven't worked on my work in progress for a week or so now because of being sick. So that's it. Okay, let us do our first sprint. Is everybody ready to sprint?
I'm ready.
Excellent. Let us go. I will see you all in 20 minutes.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Everyone.
Star, welcome back.
Hello, welcome.
How did you get on?
Good. I think one of the more difficult things for me in writing a series of standalones, like the series is very much an interconnected series where like there's lots of overlap, not just in characters, but in like plots. So each book can stand on its own. Like you could pick up book 3 and read it and get a good sense of what happened in the books before it, and then just read 3 as its own story. But it's also really difficult to like weave in those elements from the books before that are important to this book,
Yes.
and important to the characters and their like growth and whatever, without info dumping or leaving out too much so that it doesn't make any sense. So that's kind of what I'm leaving in now. I had a couple people read this who haven't read any of the prior books, just to make sure that like all of it makes sense. And if somebody picked up book 3 without having read the others, they can understand what was going on and what came before that's, you know, like important to the story. And I'm trying to weave in their feedback without info dumping so that it all makes sense and they get what everyone's doing. So it's melting my brain a little bit. But what'd you do?
I mostly finished my email to Kate. Not quite. I haven't sent it yet, so I haven't yet still looked at my work. Morning Star, thanks for joining, or thanks for expressing that you are here, not just lurking. Thanks for joining us, Tila von Lawrence. All right, how'd everyone do?
Yeah, tell us.
Let us know.
Oh, they requested to join the Facebook group. Lawrence or Tivon. Something. Hold on, sorry. Yeah.
I don't even have Facebook open anymore.
Oh, whoops. Maybe I should have it closed. Be more focused. Whoopsie daisy. Nobody has any updates? Writing sprints are great for productivity.
Yes. They are very, very good for keeping you going and getting support and cheering on and all of that. They're awesome.
What I find interesting about doing writing sprints, for my personal experience, is that I can sit down for 2 hours and just like make myself sit there for 2 hours and write. And if I just leave the block open and don't set any sort of sprints within that 2 hour period, then I will not get nearly as many words as if I did focused sprints for like 25 minutes and then took a 5-minute break, 25 minutes, took a 5-minute break 4 times. It's crazy to me. But yeah.
I think it's just convincing your mind that you're focused and it's time to write. And when you've told yourself it's a sprint, your mind goes, oh, okay, we can get it. Look, we've got a deadline. We must do stuff.
Yeah. I did that over the weekend. I did a little experiment on myself. And I was like, well, let me just try this. And I think in one session where I didn't time myself, I wrote like 1,600 words, which is, you know, quite nice. In another session, though, I wrote 2,500, and I was like, and the only thing I did different was doing the sprints and giving myself a break in between. So, you know, I should do that more often.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Great job. 200 words written.
Oh, no.
Morning Star, you've got to stake those office vampires. It sounds harsh, but I think it needs to be done.
Silver bullets. What is silver bullets for?
Werewolves.
Oh, no, look at her. I'm so sorry. My fault. She's like, obviously werewolves.
Obviously. I mean,
Definitely werewolves.
Like, what kind of paranormal romance writer are you? Oh, wait, you're not.
I don't know. I'm not one. I have now told way too many people about my fantasy idea, so now they're all
Does that have werewolves in?
No.
Oh, okay. You'll be fine then.
It's about Hades and Persephone, so it's Greek retellings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No silver bullets needed there.
No. God, cats everywhere.
25 words. Good
Very
job.
nice.
2,500 is awesome. Megan is just.
March was a very slow month and a very frustrating one, and April has been a lot better. And yesterday was a really good writing day. I got like 7,500 words or something. It was awesome. 7,500 words for the whole weekend. It was like 6,000 yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Other times Megan has been known to just stare at the wall blankly for 3 hours, so you know.
That's true. That's usually helpful though, as well. Why do I have so many cats on my desk right now? Come here. Please get off of that.
Okay.
My live on the internet.
Yeah, that's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh no. Bad renters ruin it for the rest of us.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can do both. It's absolutely fine. I hear silver bullets are very effective on an awful lot of creatures, so...
Stop. Sorry, I'm dealing with some cats who are not understanding boundaries today.
No. So love us, fuss us.
They want to be here in front of me.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not available for that right now.
I do not ever use dictation because that involves a great deal of memory that I don't have for what I just said, because otherwise my dictation would basically be the same sentence 6 times before I remembered that I'd said it once. And that would get annoying. So
I do not process verbally. So it's actually faster. My stream of consciousness is faster if I'm writing versus speaking. So I think it all depends on how you process best. If you are a verbal processor, then dictation would probably be amazing for you. Oliver, get off of the desk.
And I know, like, some writers do it with massive success. There's like many writers who really do well with it, and I think it's one of those as well that if you're struggling with typing for some reason, like you've got injuries or whatever, and that's the only way you could do it, then
if I like broke my arm, I would do it just because I would want to, still write even if I couldn't type. But
right, I think it's time for another sprint, and Megan can wrangle her cats into order.
He's about to get yeeted across the room. Stop.
Let's do our second sprint, people, and we will see you all back here in 20 minutes.
Sounds good.
Good luck, everyone. Welcome back. How did everyone get on that time?
How'd you do, Ali?
I actually got a few words.
Yay, that's so exciting.
It is 113 words.
Man, good for you.
How about you?
I am not tracking word count, but I can tell that I am adding words to this and not deleting any. But I think I worked out the part of the feedback that I was trying to weave in. Somebody was confused about someone's sister, and I was like, oh. And I think I figured it out, so that's good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. It doesn't. No one else reads it again after this. Just me. I guess the editor reads it, but so if Mo is confused, she'll.
Yes. Yeah, it's a little tricky when you've got to find a whole bunch of people who haven't read the others, isn't it?
Yeah, I usually only do one person, but this time I did two. So
Yeah.
It was nice. And I did one person who read book one but not book two, which I think was also helpful. Because the events of book three are directly spurred on by the events of book two.
Yeah.
So it was nice having the perspective of someone who had no idea what happened in that one, but was like quasi familiar with the characters. Because she spotted some really, really good holes for me actually, where she was like, this could be a little clear. So I'm glad that I asked her to read it.
That's good. Yeah. Easy graphics, great job. 4 sentences. Kate, 150 words.
Kate, are your kids on break this week? Where are they? Are you home now, or are you still traveling? A 2-for question for you, Kate. Sorry.
So many questions.
I'm very curious today, I guess. You know what we haven't talked about yet?
So many things.
Well, we haven't talked about food, so I feel like someone needs to start a conversation. Yeah. I don't do a ton of deleting at this stage anyway. It's not like I'm cutting out large swaths of anything. Really, I think I'm going to add a bunch of words to this because of the things that I need to make a little bit clearer. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes, because the manuscript itself is already almost 80,000 words. So.
Yeah. Well, mine is currently sitting at 90,600 words.
Oh, wow.
And I've yet to write the last at least 2 chapters.
That's normal for people. I feel like I'm very solidly in the middle of novel length in terms of what I write, because I'm usually somewhere between like 75, 76. This one is longer because it has an epilogue, so which my other 2 don't. It is actually the only one out of 5 that has an epilogue. But it was important to the storyline.
Yeah.
Speaking of epilogues and by proxy prologues, I found out from a friend of mine last night that she skips those. I know, that was my reaction too. My eyes got real wide and I was like, what? I had heard of people who skipped them, but I had never actually met anyone before who skipped them, because she had just started a new book. So she messaged our group chat and she was like, hey, this book has a prologue. Should I read it? Should I skip it? Of course, the other people in the chat are like avid readers, and then I'm the writer in the group, and I was like, you read it. What are you talking about? What? Why would you skip it? So now I need to know, do people on here skip prologues and epilogues, or do you always have to read them?
I mean, it's words that the author wrote. Why would you not read them?
That's what
it's like
saying.
It's part of the story. If you don't read it, other things might not make sense. And also, it's just more of like the epilogue. By the time I reach the end of the book, I want to know at least the next like little bit of the story. And if there's no epilogue, it's like, but you just ended the book. Like, what the hell? What happens next?
Well, I mean, I will say that, like, sometimes I'll read a prologue, and it's like it's oh, thanks for joining us. Sometimes I'll read a prologue, and it's like it's the author's way of giving us information that they could have sprinkled in through the book but didn't want to. And sometimes I'll read an epilogue where you're like, oh, I mean, the end of the book was fine, but this was also nice. You know, like it feels like more like bonus content than a continuation of the story necessarily. But I still never skip them because, like, you just don't know. It could be very important to the story. And so she read it, and she came back after she finished the prologue, and she was like, okay, so there was important details in here, so I'm glad I didn't skip it. And I was like, thank you. Don't skip them. You never know.
Wait, I'm sorry, but how many readers like skip chapter 1 in a book? Or like chapter 16? They're just like, you know what? I bet nothing important happens there. That's just...
Yeah. Well, I just explained it to her. I was like, prologues and epilogues are things that happen like outside the realm. Like usually they're outside the sort of the timeline of the main story.
Yeah.
Prologues are usually something that happened like way before when you were a child or they were a child or 10 years ago or whatever. And then epilogues are, you know, there's distance between like the last chapter and then what happens in the epilogue. So they're like ways to pre-shadow and foreshadow. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I was embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, you can't tell people you don't do this. What? You have to read them. So hopefully she'll stop skipping that now. But
yeah.
Scandalized.
Like, this is why some authors make their prologue just like chapter 1. It's like, that's all well and good, but it's not chapter 1. And
yeah,
like, because if it happens 5 years before chapter 2, then other readers are going to be like, I mean, what? They're going to get confused. But then if you've got a whole bunch of readers who are like, a prologue, that can't possibly be important. The author just got really bored and wrote complete nonsense for 3 pages. Like, why? What? I just...
Yeah. I don't know. I'm also the person who, like, if I pick up a book and I realize at any point whilst perusing the book or reading it that it is not the first one in the series, I will immediately put it down and go find the first one in the series. And there are many people out there who are not like that. I will not read a series out of order because there's always going to be something that I'm going to miss. I'm not going to understand. Like a good thing. I can't do it.
Now, I have read series out of order, especially Pippa Grant, because she was very clear on these are standalones.
Oh, I don't care.
You can read them in any order. And by the time I got into the book enough to be like, well, I mean, I want to know who all these other characters are. I really wanted to know how that book ended first. So,
oh no,
yeah. But then she broke, because she's completely made just like her own world, but she's got several separate like little series in that, and they have like the occasional crossover character or the occasional visit from a character from another series. So you can there are multiple different correct orders to read them in.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Like you can read them in the order she wrote them, or you can read them in like this series and then this series and then this series or whatever. It's yeah. Oh. But then so occasionally I've read a book out of order, but then I'll go back to the bit when I finish that one book, I'll go back to the beginning of the series and then read the whole thing again, including the book that I already read, to make sure it's in the right order and that I notice all the things I wouldn't have noticed the first time.
Yeah. I guess you could do that with the idea that I have in mind too. I guess you could do that. I guess you could read like the second series that I haven't written yet first. Because I don't think there will be cameos, but there shouldn't be like, spoilers, right?
Yeah.
But it'll still be like all of that stuff will happen before or after everything that happens in the first series, just because of the timeline.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, but I haven't read many of these actually, because usually when I read a series, I read like a very specific, definitive trilogy, and it's like a encapsulated world. But I'm very intrigued by the people who create their own like universe and then write every single book that they have inside of that universe, because I already am ready to like I'm already planning the next universe that I get to create in a totally different country.
Yeah. Debbie, I always loved, because I go around and visit with Debbie and we sit and have tea and stuff, and we've been doing that for a few years, and she always chatted to me about her books, and she'd be excited about like that. So coming up to the end of a series, she'd be really excited about the next series she was going to start, and the next world, and telling me all about the next world and stuff. And at one point over the last couple of years, she was like, people had said about just doing it in one universe, like having one big universe that all your books are in, because then it helps the read through more. And like she wished she'd done that, and I can see the value of that for the read through, but equally I remember just how excited she was about starting each new world and the new things that were in each world and stuff. So
yeah,
there's pros and cons for both ways of doing it.
I mean, I get that. Does she write, what's her genre?
Paranormal romance.
She's literally creating like new worlds and magic systems and stuff. Yeah. For me, I'm still in the real world, but after, so there's this series set in Philadelphia, then there's the spin-off set in Boston, and then after that, I want to go like clear across the ocean to Italy. So, I mean, technically, we're still in the same world because the world still exists, but I don't currently have any plans to like do any cameos.
I was going to say, it's a question though, really, of whether your books set in Italy are in the same timeline as you, or literally the same world. Like in your book set in Italy, is there the Callahan family in Philadelphia, or are they not?
I don't know. I wasn't planning on doing it that way. But there is a prominent mafia family in the first series, at least. In the second series, I'm pretty sure they're all going to be Irish because it's in Boston. But yes, I mean, I could, which would bring in the Callahans because of their connection there. So it's like,
And like readers love cameos of characters that they've loved.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if Declan just shows up in one of your Italian books, that'll be it. You'll have all the people who love those books read the Italian books just for that one little snippet.
Just for that one snippet.
Yeah.
All right. Might have to make Declan go to Italy or something.
Okay. Right. I think it's time to do the final sprint, or I'm going to be very, very, very late to bed.
I'm ready.
So, yeah, let us go. Let us do the final sprint. Last 20 minutes, everyone. Good luck. Oh, welcome back. If anyone's still here.
Did everyone leave us already?
A few people did. Kate left and Easy left and T11 Lawrence left.
Well, we're still holding on the fort, so that's good for us.
Yes. How did you get on that time?
Good. I was implementing some feedback from Kate, so
Excellent.
I guess if she ever reads the final version, she'll have to tell me I did a good job.
Yeah.
What letter in the Greek alphabet comes after B? Is there a C or does it skip right to D? I swear that's the reason I'm asking that. Now I have to Google it.
Yeah, that's fun too. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Gamma apparently comes between beta and delta.
Well, that's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Confusing to my English brain anyway.
And then we have epsilon and then zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda.
Yeah.
Their alphabet is not our alphabet.
No, not even close. It's also much shorter. Well, no, it's not. 1, 2, 3.
It's only 4 letters, apparently.
Oh, so it's not that much shorter.
No.
Epsilon and upsilon, that's confusing though.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, anyways, I was just like, should I send it? Because you send it to an alpha reader or critique partner while you're writing, and then you send it to a beta reader once you've finished. And I was like, is there a C reader?
No.
Once you make all
There's
these
an
changes.
alpha and then a beta and then an arc.
Yeah, but I don't give myself enough. Like the arcs are just people I want to like tell. Right, they're supposed to tell other people to read the book and leave a review.
Yes.
They're not suggesting changes to the book itself. So.
Nope.
And I had a couple beta readers who were like, I would love to see the heroine's character flesh out a little more. And I agree with that. So I'm making some like pretty substantial changes, which is why I'm making them, and then I'm gonna let it sit for a while, and then I'm gonna do another read and see how it sounds. So, let's see. But, yeah.
You just get multiple rounds of beta readers.
I might have to give it to another person, but we'll see. It's very stressful for me. But I might do that. I might see if there's one more person who wants to read it.
Yeah.
Or the person who gave me the feedback wants to read it again.
Be like, hey, I fixed that stuff you said about. Make sure I've done it right.
Yeah.
You can't say no.
Why? Why did you come over here? You've been sleeping this whole time.
It was just a cat nap. Now he's awake again.
Yeah, thank goodness for me.
Mm-hmm.
I know. You need a massage. This cat, so spoiled. How'd you do, by the way? You didn't say.
Yeah, no, I did okay. I've got 300 words overall, so
Nice for the day.
yeah.
Very nice. Good for you. How far through it are you? Because you're still kind of like editing to the end so that you can write the end, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is correct. I'm on chapter 21-ish, I think. Of about 29.
Oh, so you're like 2/3 or so of the way through.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of an issue.
What's that? No, that's 3/4.
Just trying to get, because I deleted a chunk because I changed their relationship somewhat. So I had to delete a chunk of conversation. And now I'm trying to link it up to the end because the end leads into the next bit.
Oh.
And it really doesn't link up to the end. So now I've got to delete a bit more and link it to a shorter bit of the end.
Oh.
So.
Oh, like what they reference in the conversation you deleted, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've got to work out how much of it I really need to keep and how much of it I don't really need to keep. So
yeah.
I'll just move on. But the end of it really links into the next bit, so I need to keep the very end of this bit, I think. Finally figuring out when to introduce a character. That's good, Justin.
Well, that's nice. It looks like a breakthrough too with your little mind blown emojis. Figured it out. Well, this is your monthly PSA, weekly PSA. I don't know. This is your PSA, not to read reviews, people. Don't do it.
Yes.
Especially don't read them at like 1 o'clock in the morning right before you go to bed. I don't know what possessed me to do that yesterday, but it's a terrible idea. So
Don't do that. What were you thinking?
it was like 1 in the morning and I was checking something off on Goodreads. It was a Goodreads review too, so I was like, I'm a psychopath. What am I doing? And I ran over there and I read this and I was like, oh no, this is a bad idea. I immediately had to sit down with like my journal and just write about it so I wouldn't spiral out into this like live rent free in my head all day. So don't read reviews, just don't do it. What a guess.
But if it's the one you were talking about in the chat, you knew that was going to be a thing for some people. So
I did, which is basically what I journaled about. I was like, I knew this was going to be a thing. I knew that there were going to be like people who were like, this isn't mafia romance because there's not enough darkness or whatever they would say. So I knew it was going to be a thing. But I was like, and it is literally a 4-star review, right? It was like, this book was extremely well written and interesting, and I finished it all in one sitting. That was her review. She's like, but, and then there was
that's awesome.
Right? So I was like, she liked the book, but
yeah. But the thing is, so she liked the book. She's given it 4 stars on Goodreads, which is like amazing because a 3-star review on Goodreads is like 5-star on Amazon. And
well, that's funny. The lady who really didn't like it gave it 3 stars. She was like, this was written in third person. That was one of her critiques of why she didn't like it. Oh, I thought that was funny.
But like other readers who were looking for that dark, gritty mafia style will read this person's review and they'll be like, oh, I won't read that one because that's not dark enough, instead of picking it up and reading it and then being like, how dare this person come? And so you'll avoid some more.
Yes. Oh, that's good. I hadn't reframed it for myself quite like that yet. Yeah. I was just going more with the like, there are people out there who want to read non-gritty dark, you know, super dark.
Right.
Like there are people being unalived in this book, so it's not like, you know, Pollyanna, but there are people who want to read mafia romances that aren't super dark.
Yeah. Like, and now more of those people will find your book because of her review.
Yay. Thanks. That was very helpful. So
you're very welcome.
Oh man.
Some people are sticklers for POV.
Yeah. I'm assuming she means sticklers. Yes.
Yeah.
Some people really like, they have their preferences. I myself am not a huge fan of dual point of view first person, but I do not put that in my reviews. I've just never mentioned it in a review because like the book is written how the author wants to write it. And typically, unless I really, really, really want to read the book, if it is dual first person point of view, I won't even read it. I'll just put it back down. Which is sad because I read a lot less these days because that's a huge trend right now is dual first person point of view. Yes. And so I don't read nearly as much, or I reread a lot of old favorites, but I've never put like, this isn't first person as like a bad thing in a review. So just because that's personal preference. If I really hated it if I really hated first person that much, I just wouldn't read it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that one was especially funny. I was like, this one doesn't even bother me because like not to get out of third person. But she was just like, there are plot holes, and I didn't like the characters, and so that one I was able to really just chalk up to like, my book just wasn't for her, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But the other one really got me, even though it was like a really nice review. But the butt at the end of her review really got me. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I also prefer third person, which is why I write in third person. I was on a thread the other day where someone was like, they switched writing. They used to write in third person, and they switched to writing in first person, and their book sales started doing a lot better, which I find interesting. And I'm not sure. There's so many nuances to that where it's like, was it necessarily just the switch into first, or did they start marketing differently, or whatever, right? Like there's a lot of nuance.
Did they write better in first?
Yeah. Did they personally prefer writing in first, and so their books sounded better, or whatever it was? There was a lot of nuance missing that. But I think about that every once in a while because I do know that readers, like, there are a lot of readers nowadays, I think especially younger readers, who prefer reading in first person because I think that is, as they become readers, I think a lot of YA is written in first person, so they're already used to that. I didn't read a lot. I started reading adult novels as a kid, so I started probably reading them way too young. And I was reading like, adult romance novels when I was like 12 or 13. So I didn't read a ton of YA. So I went right into third person.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that sort of influences the trend of first person, but agreed.
I think every book I read growing up was third. I don't remember any first person.
That was the more prominent one in like the 80s and 90s, early 2000s. I think really only in the last like maybe 5 to 10 years, if that. 10 years might even be too long, but for sure in the last several years, first person has become way more popular, especially in dual point of view. To me, I think it's limited. I agree. It's a very limited view of the narrative, for one. But two, people are always saying that like first person allows you to get deeper into the character's head. I've never found that to be true unless I'm just reading poorly written first person narratives. Like I've never found that it gets you any deeper than like a really well written deep third in a character's head.
No,
and to me it's kind of very confusing. Switching back and forth and everyone is I, me, and my, even though we're two different people. It's
I find it much easier to write deep in first because I'm very used to omniscient third, because that is what most of the books were written in when I was growing up. They were omniscient was what everyone wrote in. So, or just a lot of head hopping like J.D. Robb.
I was gonna say, I think it's funny now because I could not have pictured. I couldn't pinpoint it before I started writing myself a lot, and then I was like, oh wow, she head hops a ton. And I go back and I read my earlier works, and I head hop a ton because I read a lot of Nora Roberts.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, you can see it so much more clearly now, where you're like, oh, this is head hopping. Okay, cool.
When you read those really big authors and you see how much they head hop, and then you write how you've learned to write from all the books you've read, and then people read your work and they're like, you are head hopping and that is bad. You are a bad writer. And you go, so all these best-selling, traditionally published, clearly very successful authors, they're terrible according to you.
Yeah. Well, I do know there are people who hate that Nora Roberts, and I'm sure others.
I'm sure that breaks her very rich little heart on a regular basis.
She's worth like $300 million. I think she's fine.
She sits there with her pile of money, crying about their opinion.
In her bed and breakfast in Maryland. I'm sure she's really broken up about it. I don't think I write third person omniscient. I definitely think I'm third person limited. in a deep point of view.
Yeah. I write if I write third person, it tends to be much much less deep, much more towards omniscient than deep. Which is why I write first, because I just find it so much easier to get deep. And if I need to write third deep, I need to write it in first and then change it to third.
Oh, interesting. I just don't think I would enjoy writing in first person. So, like, I just don't think I would feasibly be able to make the switch because I don't think I would. I don't think I would like it.
Fair enough.
So, just keep praying that third at some point will make a comeback.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Well, I say that. I don't know. Because, like, fashion goes in circles. But I don't know if writing fashion does. Like, I don't see Charles Dickens' writing ever really making a comeback, or Shakespeare.
Well, I mean, they also wrote in the vernacular of the time, right? In the sentence structure.
Yeah. But the style of, like, the style of the prose and the, although, I mean, they weren't writing romance, in fairness, so maybe I just need to find the romance.
I mean, Shakespeare wrote some romance, didn't he? Did he? He wrote tragedies, he wrote comedies. Maybe he wasn't technically writing romance.
No.
Poems. Sonnets.
Yeah. Like, Jane Austen wrote romance.
Yeah.
And her style is very old.
Well, I think I was reading something. What book was I reading? I was trying to read Practical Magic because it's one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
I had never read the book before, so I was trying to read the book. The book, I don't know. It's been a minute since I tried to read it. I did not finish it. I couldn't get through the second chapter. I think it's in second person or it's in very omniscient third person, but you feel very, very removed from the characters. And so, in a way that's normal, I think, when you're watching a movie, but weird when you're reading a book. Like, it was almost impossible to get into any one character's head because it's just like a third person, like, narrator telling you the story rather than one of the actual characters living the story. And I did not like that. And I think that's very true of, obviously, Practical Magic is not from like Jane Austen era, but I think that's really common of older books. And I think I read Pride and Prejudice, and that's really similar too. It's told by a narrator and not by the characters.
Yeah.
So I think that was just a common storytelling device that we don't really use as much anymore.
No. Okay, I'm gonna have to go because I'm nearly asleep now.
Yeah, I have to teach a workshop in a couple hours, so I'm gonna make some dinner.
Yeah, dinner. Dinner. Thank you so much for joining me and keeping me company. I really appreciate that.
I need to get these edits done, so I was happy to pop in.
And I will see you all on Saturday. I hope you all have a lovely week.
Bye.
With great stuff. I've got to find the end thing. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.